first time that I came, I was used to practicing all month long. The track was cold, and you know, the track looks cold and gray. The stands are all gray in color, and it gives a dark appearance to the track. And then race day comes, and you show up, and there's 500,000 people in the stands, and there's all these colors of the T-shirts and hats.
I've talked to several different Europeans that, you know, they know of the Indianapolis 500 from a boy, you know, and then they grow up and they go on to win world championships in F1, but they always know what the Indy 500 is.
It's a very tough race. It doesn't look so tough on TV, but it's one of the most tense mentally to do.
What a day for a daydream. What a day for a daydreaming boy. And I'm lost in a daydream, dreaming about my bundle of joy. And even if time ain't really on my side, it's one of those days for taking a walk outside. I'm blowing the day to take a walk in the sun and follow my face on somebody's new mode lawn. I've been having a sweet dream.
The 500 miles of Indianapolis are without a doubt a serious, no-nonsense, grueling competition. And yet, the Indy 500 is great entertainment. It's packaged to offer something for everybody. You can view it as a lavish stage play, a cross-section of values, or as a work of art. At any rate, it's part of America.
Tomorrow I'll pay the dues for dropping my load. A pie in the face for being a sleepy bulldog.
The search for what makes Indy so special does not turn up much in the way of secrets, but rather the tried and true components of success.
It is the oldest race in the world. It is the most prestigious race. If you win, it pays the most money. And all of these reasons, the reason why it pays the most money and the reason why it's so prestigious is because it's the oldest.
The Indianapolis Hall of Fame commemorates the race's heroes, legends, and history, which began in 1909. Back then, 3,250,000 bricks paved the track. Still fondly termed the Brickyard, today's course has a more state-of-the-art surface. The museum exhibits Mercedes in a very favorable light, although the marque last competed here 71 years ago. With memories fading of Ralph De Palma's victory with Benz 79 years back, the time is right for the company to return to the starting line. Indy is big enough and powerful enough to have its own set of rules, including those for engine design. Following up on one of Roger Penske's ideas, specialists Mario Ilian and Paul Morgan developed a 3.6-liter turbo engine for Mercedes. This motor has a mere 1,000 horses under its hood. Speaking of Roger Penske, his team, the cleverest and winningest around, had already been slated to race the entire IndyCar series with Mercedes in 1995. But the partners decided to try their luck a year ahead of time.
I felt that it would be a very strong, really, announcement in the States if we could come to Indianapolis, not in 1995, but come here in 1994 with a world-class engine. And we made the decision to go. I might tell you this, though, that Mercedes management said, Roger, if you'll run all three of your cars with this engine, we'll run with the Mercedes. They didn't want me to run one car with an Ilmor and another car with a Mercedes, which I think is a firm commitment we made together, so it's a true partnership.
Für uns ist damit auf der professionellen Seite natürlich ein überzeugender Eindruck gelungen.
It took a lot of courage to plunge right in so early and so quickly, but in a very short time, a winning motor was designed and built, and it proved that we'd made the right decision. We are very impressed with the team's professionalism, and of course with this engine's performance. This success gives us a solid basis for our plans for the rest of the year and the future.
Und dadurch zu einem wirklich durchgreifenden Erfolg gemacht wurde. Und das gibt uns eine gute Basis für die Pläne, die wir jetzt im weiteren Verlauf und für die kommenden Jahre haben.
This engine was designed in a particularly short time period. We started it in mid-July in 1993, and 26 weeks later we had it running on the dynamometer. It was a very intense program with the designers and the manufacturing part of our plant working very closely together.
Al Unser Jr., Emerson Fittipaldi, and Paul Tracy are the drivers fine-tuning the new racing car during the 3-week training period. Unique to the Indy 500, this long training phase is part of the inimitable build-up, the hype for the coming dramatics, and indispensable as well. Only the uninformed would think it must be easy to drive around 4 curves that all look pretty much alike. As it is, the drivers and teams spend every sunup to sundown at the track. Their families, like Fittipaldi's, have parked their motorhomes right by. After winning last year, Fittipaldi should be in perfect shape for this race. Emerson Fittipaldi, or Emo, as his American fans call him, tells us just what makes Indy different and so much harder than other races.
4 exactly the same corners. It looks very easy, but when you're driving out there, if you have a wind of 10 miles, 16, 20 kilometers per hour wind, blowing down on the main straight, you have turn 1 and 2 with turning with the wind down behind you, the car is going to be understeering. There's going to be a lot of push on the front, and then when you approach turns 3 and 4 against wind, the car is going to be loose, and if there is a cloud that covers the sun, in 3-4 minutes you can gain 2 or 3 miles per hour average speed just because there's a shade there on the track. And one of the most difficult things on race day here is the traffic, because when you are behind 3 or 4 cars, we are getting about 400 kilometers per hour top speed with the Mercedes engine, and at that speed behind 3 or 4 cars, the turbulence is incredibly high, and you lose the effect of the wing, and your car is coming loose, and you still have to go quick through the corner to be close enough to try to pass after the corner, and you have to work a lot on what the car is going to do before it does it, and that's your limit. And the limit in Indianapolis, the edge that we drive is very, very narrow edge.
Take another cut at it, bro. Yeah.
Pole Day falls on the second weekend, and more than 200,000 fans have come to watch.
Thank you.
Gracias. Buena suerte. Gana la carrera otra vez. Me está rezando porque ahí.
On this special day at Indy, it all boils down to one basic rule. Drive as fast as you can, because just one single session today decides who will be in the front lineup. Everyone else will have to struggle through the complicated qualification procedures. After a warm-up lap comes the moment of truth. 4 laps of flooring it. Total time is evaluated as well as average speed. And Emerson Fittipaldi, driving Mercedes, has done fine in both categories, qualifying for a front row seat. Meanwhile, the track speaker is coolly commenting on Al Unser Jr.'s driving skills.
225.722 miles an hour. First time around, former champion Al Unser Jr. Let's see what that new chassis, that new engine does for him. Oh wow! Over 228 miles an hour. Incredible! 3.9 2:28.413 on the time, 228.351 miles an hour. He has a 2:27 average. Another one like that could put him on the pole for the moment. And it's faster.
It's hard to see how he can stay cool when Al also garners a pole position by racing more than 228 miles or 367 kilometers per hour for 4 laps. And that was his average speed.
Let's see if he stays there.
So the stage is set, and Indy can gear up for another unforgettable weekend. Not for nothing is the Indianapolis 500's registered trademark the greatest spectacle in racing. Only on the 4th of July will you see parades as big as the parade on Indianapolis race weekend. 200 formations march by representing every facet and fantasy of America, and absolutely everybody who's anybody is there, even up through the ranks of top management. Parading by is pride in the diversity of America, plus plenty of humor.
His name's Peter. I think he's been here for 5 years. He cried the whole time. I'll give him the rest of his haircut next week.
One dream, one soul, one drive. One golden thread.
Bit by bit, all those little specks out there amass into 500,000 spectators. Polite and considerate, nicely dressed and appropriately motorized. They have an eye for aesthetics and a fine sense of humor. They don't make much ado about getting to the top. The spectators are here to enjoy themselves and one another.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway. Skip the light fandango. You bet, where have you gone? You bet, you
Race day. At 5 a.m., the giant gates are opened. Over the years, one man has earned the privilege of being the first to enter the premises. Indy celebrates its rites and rituals, its special music, all those preparations that get the adrenaline flowing. Yet nowhere else in the world are such time-honored ceremonies attended by an audience clad in T-shirts.
Warm the hearts of the hundreds of thousands of us gathered to watch this spectacle.
Since the Indy 500 is raced in the capital of Indiana, it's only natural that the state's anthem, Back Home Again in Indiana, is played to a cheering crowd. everyone is anxiously awaiting the entrance of the grand old lady, the widow of the owner of this racing track, waiting to hear her say,
"Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines."
The pack heads into its warm-up lap with two Penske Mercedes in the front row, piloted by Al Unser Jr. and Emerson Fittipaldi. Paul Tracy is holding steady in the ninth row. Chances are you've heard of their opponents, such as Andretti, of whom there are three, Nigel Mansell, Eddie Cheever, Arie Luyendyk, Jacques Villeneuve, Raoul Boesel, and Bobby Rahal. 33 cars are at the starting line, facing 500 miles or 200 laps, or about 3.5 hours of racing, depending on the yellow flags and the 7 or 8 pit stops for each racer. There's the green light, and the race is on. The two Penske drivers, Fittipaldi and Unser, immediately pull out ahead. This highly unusual start of an Indy race just goes to show that Mercedes and Penske had the right concept and the right engine. There's Roger Penske, the cool as a cucumber strategist. No camera could ever fully capture the thrill of skimming along the wall at almost 400 kilometers an hour. Surprisingly, even at this breakneck speed, little mistakes do not necessarily lead to massive car wrecks. That's because of the sharp angle of tangents, stable vehicle construction, and centrifugal force, which doesn't work against the drivers too much here. Pit stops play a major role in the drama of the race. They interrupt the screaming engines, upset the rhythm, add color to the track. Even though changing tires and getting gas takes a mere 15 seconds, deciding when to call in the driver is crucial to racing tactics. The Mercedes team's pit stop strategist is Roger Penske, known for his nerves of steel, even in the face of 3 hours of the Indy 500. Shortly after the first third of the race, in the 73rd lap to be exact, the two Penske Mercedes have passed the entire field, something which has never happened before. But then again, this race is unique from the word go. First of all, there is that wall, glowing white against the dark backdrop of the track surface. When the pilot sees his wheel throw shadows on it, he knows he's right where he wants to be. As for the curves, they come up on you so much faster than in the traditional Grand Prix race that every moment must be subtle, delicate. Throughout the entire race, you won't see anyone wrenching the steering wheel. Whoever does is already in trouble. About halfway through the race, one of the legends of American racing takes his final bow. Mario Andretti's one and only Indy victory was 25 years ago, and he was not able to repeat it this time around. Other great racers, such as Paul Tracy and Nigel Mansell, also have to throw in the towel. Rookie Jacques Villeneuve, who's driving more like a seasoned pro, is now the most immediate threat to the Penske pilots in the lead. Imagine, if you can, jockeying for position at 380 kilometers per hour, all the while watching for the one ideal line, the infamous groove. To top it off, the racer occupying that groove certainly won't move over for you. Meanwhile, there's the artist's rendition of racing, such as works by Michael Nyman, the foremost pit stop painter of Indianapolis, with prices to match. Every tire is measured, and the larger ones are placed on the right side. Those of you who did not sleep through physics class will know why. Everything's running beautifully, but at the 2/3 mark, there's commotion in the Penske pit. Again and again, Penske team members glance at the display tower because they can't see turns 1, 2, and 3 from where they are, which may be just as well, for during lap 185, Fittipaldi just barely touches that wall he'd been talking about earlier. It had to happen to him, one of the most experienced and polished drivers. His lead of nearly 1 lap is whirled away in the air turbulence of the car racing in front of him. The double victory, therefore, becomes a single win, but a wonderful one nonetheless. Al Unser Jr. and his Penske Mercedes win the Indy 500 and $2.8 million. That's what happened when a couple of guys built an engine one winter and decided to give it a test spin in Indianapolis. Just as the Indy 500 begins with ceremony, it also ends with its own peculiar traditional rite, one whose origins are lost in the annals of American racing history. The winner toasts himself with, no, not champagne, but milk. Cheers.
$888,000. This will undoubtedly send me over the